Hi, welcome to my channel, KTBIOM. Today I've got the Cheonjigung CJG, 60-pound marked weight, and the YMG Yeonmugung 75-pound marked weight. I've had a kind of uncertainty in terms of what the actual poundage is, because different days I get different results, and so far I've been using this kind of bow scale. Ooh, excuse me. This kind of bow scale for all the measurements, but since this part here sort of started swiveling round, it seems to have become a bit less accurate or unpredictable. So I've had some like kind of odd results, and I started to lose faith on this device. So I went online and I bought this scale. However, there's two problems with this scale. One of them is just the body's slightly too long with the hook here at the end. So in order to draw 32 inches, you're effectively having to draw, almost like, 38 inches, because this is, quite a long distance. So it's quite hard to draw on the bows. And the other one is that the measurement that you get here doesn't actually stay. So you can only see it live. So when you're pulling, 38 inches, there's no chance you can see it. So I'm going to try it anyway, just to see whether we can get a number on the camera, even though I won't be able to see it immediately, and use this as a kind of guide as to where I am. And then finally, I bought a new bow scale, this one, which is slightly different to my original one. So this is my original one with this swivelly point. And this is the new one, and you can see the new one's got this little screw here covering the battery cover, which the old one doesn't have. So hopefully it might be an improved version of it. So, and this is quite stiff, there's no movement in the hook, whereas on this one it just swivels around. So I'm going to measure the bows again, and this time I have, where's it gone? This old arrow of mine, which is marked, hang on a sec, my hands are full. The problem not having a little table. So let's put these there for now. So this one is marked here at 28 inches, 29 inches, 30 inches, 31 inches, although the tape is not quite in the right place, so it's just about a few mil before the start of the white for 31 inches, 32 inches on the red, and then again 33 inches on the white. And as you can see with these arrows, if I put it here on the end on the same as bases as this one, you can see that this one is about 1.5 inches longer than my 32-inch arrows. So, which actually begs the question, shouldn't 32 be here then? So yeah, oh yes, because it's from the base of the knock. So yeah, so that's the base of the knock compared to the shaft. So 32 inches on the red line, so that's accurate. So I'm going to try measuring the bows, starting with a Cheonji, using the all three scales at 28 inches and then at 32 inches, and see how we do. So let me set up first. Okay, so these are the old scales at 0. So first 28 inches, which will be the first white line on the bow at the back of the bow to here. And it's read exactly 60 pounds. So this is what I keep saying. These bows, it's a 60 pound, marked 60 pound bow. This is 60 pounds at 28 inches. Right, okay, let's try now 32 inches, which is, so That's 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, so the start of the red line. Let's go for 32 inches. There we go. So this is red 83.98, so pretty much 84 pounds. Okay. Let's try it with the different scales. So one of the reasons I bought this scale is because you can change the unit to different bases of measurement, including the jin, which is the Chinese pound, which is equivalent to 600 grams. And I thought that this was close to the Korean gun, which I thought maybe is the basis for how Korean bows are measured. So I'm going to try and measure this. I'm not sure how far I can pull this back, but we're going to try and measure it to 28 inches. So as you can see, I'm going to have to get close. So this basically, hang on, start again. This one's really fiddly. So as it goes up, it should go down. Yeah. So let's see how I can get this to 28 inches. And let's get close to. So that's 28 inches. Oh, I can't see what it says. 52.89. Okay, so 53 pounds. Let's try again. Did it actually? Oh. Arrow fell. Oh, come on. Right, I'm going to try again. This scale is really fiddly. It might be good in a kind of tiller mechanism for weighing the bows properly, but by hand it is really fiddly. Let's try again. 28 inches. There we go. 51.9 it says. Okay. I'm not going to be able to do 32 inches with this one. So let's move on to the next one. And this is the new scale. So let's see what this reads. So starting at 0. We're going to do 28 inches and then we're going to do 32 inches. Right, so 28. It's measured 55.96. So about 55 pounds. Let's try 29 inches. Oh, error. I'll try again. This time pretty much 60 pounds at 29 inches. Let's try 32 inches. Which is the red line, the red tape. There. So 77.32, 72.8, so let's try again. It's closer to the original reading I had, about 78 pounds at 32 inches. Tell you what, because I can't really see the tape, these arrows are 32 inches, so when I feel the base of the point, that's my 32 inch mark. Let's try. There. So yeah, so that's coming at 78.8. So that's quite reassuring. It means that my scale was accurate to start with, but maybe not so much now. But not by much either, because it was read 83 before, something like that. So about 5 pounds with the wiggliness. Okay, I'm going to take a rest now, and then I'm going to do the YMG. Okay, trying now the YMG with the original scale at 28 inches and 32 inches. So at 0, oh come on, it's very sensitive, this thing. As soon as you touch the hook it changes. So at 0, let's go for 28 inches, stand a bit back so we can see the tape. There we go. And that's read 74.9 at 28 inches. So again, that's my theory, that this bow's been measured at 75 at 28 inches in the kind of like Western AMO kind of basis, not the Korean 31 inch. So let's see what this scale now says for the 32 inches. So for that, I'm going to swap again to the other arrow, because it's easier to feel for the point. So 32 inches, full draw with these arrows. Again, starting at 0. Let's see how I get on. Whoa, struggling to get to the 32. And maybe that's why 111.4, and I didn't even get to 32. Let me just step a bit back so we can see the point of the arrow, because I couldn't see how far away I was from the point. And like I said, this adds another couple of inches to your draw, so it kind of feels a bit too much of a stretch, at least for me anyway. Try again. 32 inches. Oh, come on. Ah. Right, okay. Oops. Right. Not full, no, full of dirt. Right, let's try again. So the thing with when I do these things, the string angle is so tight because the hook is so narrow that it just pushes the knocks out. And okay, let's try again. 32 inches with a YMG. Third time lucky. That's as far as I can go. Now it's reading 101. So yeah, and this is my problem with this scale, the original one. It's just too variable between readings. It doesn't give you a lot of confidence. So let's try at least this one to 28 inches, because I don't think this scale. Let's try to 28 inches, because I don't think I will ever manage to pull that back far enough to get to 32. So right, 32 inches, and I need to be close for this one. So That's 32, and that's reading. Oh. I couldn't hold that. It was cutting on my fingers. The handle. I think I was trying to squeeze too many fingers in there, or not the right fingers. So I'm going to try again with these. Right, try again in pounds. "28 inches. And it didn't give it time to lock, so I don't know what that was. I'll have to slow down the video and have a look. And then the new scale here with the screw on the battery cover. So, I feel the strain there now. Right, okay, let's try 28 inches and see what this one says it is. Ooh. This is the other thing I don't like about using these things. It kind of splits the serving too much. I think I need to redo this serving at some point, sooner rather than later. Okay, so starting at 0, 28 inches on the YMG, 75-pound mark weight. There we go. So it's reading 71. So less than the 75. Let's try this one at 29. See if it's the same as with the Cheonji. So let's start at the blue line. Oh. And error. It hasn't taken a reading at all. I hate how finicky these things are. Pernickety even. Right, okay. 29 inches. Here we go. So this time 75.44. So same story with Cheonji. The old scale measures the poundage at 28 inches. This one's measuring the poundage at 29. So question is, which scale is accurate, if any? They might well be both wrong. So, you know, how do you know what's true? Right, okay, and finally, let's try and go the full 32 inches with this scale and see how far I can, what poundage we're getting at full draw. There we go. Oh, seriously. Apparently 2 pounds. Oh, I hate these things. They're just so unreliable. Okay, let's try again. 32 inches. I find this more tiring than actually shooting the bow. This constant pulling and then letting down. Okay, last time, you know, third time lucky. 32 inches. Oh, come on. Same story as before. the knocks come loose, the servings again coming loose, splitting. So knock point all over the place. Now I've tried to push it up again, but it's frustrating. And the knock is also dirty because of course he had to fall down. Knock first. There we go. Clean. Right, come on. Let's get up. Let's get on with it. 32 inches. Here we go. Now this is saying it's 96.85, 82. So 96 is more or less what I was expecting, because I've got this theory that whatever my Korean bows are more or less marked at 28 inches, you take a third of the weight of the marked weight and then add that to your draw weight at 32 inches. So for a 60-pound bow, a third is going to be 20 pounds, so you're going to be drawing approximately 80 pounds at 32 inches. For the YMG, 75 pounds, so a third of that, 25 pounds, so 75, 25, you're going to be averaging about 100 pounds at 32 inches. So this is actually closer to the mark than the original 106 that I got. And if you look at my weight video for my first video for the YMG, where I got 106 average, I just couldn't believe it, and that's why I took so many different readings, because I had to say, well, you know, it might have been a fluke reading, but I just kept having readings in the same kind of ballpark. So for that reason, I'm going to take another one at 32 and see what that says, because I think it ought to be in the 95 to 100 and something, but I'm not sure where it is. And because it's a bit too much of a stretch at 32 using one of these, you know, that's where a bit of variability can come in. So one last chance at 0 to try and see what 32 inches on this is. So stand back so we get the full draw. Oh, I should have checked the knock before I started. Oh. Okay. Right, come on. Try again. 32 inches. So 95. So that's more or less what we had before. So yeah, so I feel like I'm a bit deceived by the old scales, and there's a bit of me is thinking that maybe these scales are also wrong and I need to have another opinion. But short of putting it on a full rig with a proper set of scales, and measuring it inch by inch and drawing the draw curve, you know, I don't think I'll know what the actual weight of this bow actually is. What I do know is that it feels quite heavy. It is a bit of a strain to pull, and also that these scales max out at 110 pounds anyway, because they're designed for 50 pounds. And for most intents and purposes, for luggage and everything, that's fine. but I think maybe as soon as you start getting close to the the limit of the tolerance of the specification for the scales, it might give you weird readings, which I think is what's happening with the old one. So anyway, that's all for today. So yeah, so the YMG, anything between 95 and 105 pounds, pretty much, which is quite a lot, really. The other thing it might be, of course, might be the weather, because it's been quite warm now. And when I take the first measurements of the YMG, that was in the winter, December, January time. So, and that was colder, 3-4 degrees. Now we're like, in the 18-20 degree kind of time of the year. So I don't know whether the temperature has actually kind of softened the bow a bit. But I did say last week that it felt a lot easier to pull now than it did back in the winter. So perhaps I've kind of fooled myself into thinking that I'm getting stronger, but in fact it's just the weather making the bow a bit softer. So yeah, so it's still good bow to shoot, still feels heavy. I'm not taking it for granted at all. Yeah, and I'm still not 100% sure what poundage it really is at full draw. But thank you for watching. Bye bye.